Welcome to the Life Leadership Podcast with myself, Leila Singh, all things coaching, career and personal branding. This podcast is for ambitious career professionals like you, wanting to create a life of choice and freedom, to be, do and have more through overcoming limitations, to develop new perspectives and insights, and to redefine your success, be that in work, health, relationships, and so much more. In this episode, I'm going to be speaking with Javier Buzon. Born and raised in Oviedo, Spain, Javier took a courageous step in moving to Dublin to expand his experience in a new environment, later to Barcelona, and finally to Madrid, where he currently resides. His 20-year tenure at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Financial Services has afforded him the opportunity to learn, to travel and to grow professionally, all while meeting great people along the way. Javier is currently a global account executive at HPEFS, a role that allows him to interact daily with customers and colleagues, to solve complex problems, to travel and to prioritize his customers' needs. During his 16+ years in sales, he has learned that teamwork is the cornerstone of any organization. Working together towards a common goal has led to several sales awards, and he is determined to continue achieving success in the future. Javier is passionate about mentoring junior sales members, helping them develop selling methodologies and skills, and he says we are all new to a role or organization at some point, and I find it extremely rewarding to spend time exchanging ideas with future sales professionals. In this episode, Javier shares with us how big, bold decisions reap rewards, why mental preparation and self-awareness are essential for success, that we are all in sales no matter our role, that every challenge brings opportunities and we get to choose what we focus on, how being curious brings growth, learning and career success, how we get comfortable with being uncomfortable and then get to witness our growth, how joining the Champions League of Sales, as he calls it, helped identify and develop his leadership potential, why cultivating diverse relationships are critical to a successful career path, that leadership is not about the role, but the character, the traits, and the behaviors. Self-doubt versus the reason you are here. In other words, let go of that self-doubt. And finally, why being humble alongside drive and ambition is a winner when advancing your career ladder. So there is so much to learn, to pick up, to gain insight from. So let's head over and hear what Javier has to say. Javier, hello there. Welcome to Life Leadership and to this conversation. I'm really looking forward to having a chat with you today. How have you been?
Hello, Leila. Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here with you today. I've been doing great. How about you?
I'm good. And I just want to get going with this because I think there's so much that you've got to share. So first of all, I'd like you to tell me and the listeners about your early career. So your exposure to Europe, languages, different cultures. Talk to me about that.
Sure. So I have a bachelor's degree in business administration. I studied there in my hometown in the north of Spain. And after that, I started working in a retail business. I was working there for a couple of years. However, I was missing some kind of extra ingredient in my career, in my life. And that's why I decided to move abroad. So I left everything behind. I packed my things and I moved to Ireland, to Dublin, where I enjoyed probably the best time of my life, both in personal and starting my career there.
Why Dublin?
Yeah, why Dublin? That's a great question. I think at the time I only spoke a little bit of Spanish and no English. So I had to choose, obviously, an English-speaking country. And a good friend of mine, he had experience in Dublin. He lived in Dublin in the past. He was having an amazing time there. The opportunities in the market were pretty interesting at the moment. We're talking about the early 2000s, so that was the economy in Ireland was blooming. It was a lot of attractive for a lot of young people across Europe. So yeah, I decided to move there. I enjoyed the first couple of months trying to get my things and my contacts and my life settled, and then I started looking for opportunities in the marketplace.
Okay. So what came up for you?
After a couple of small jobs, let's say, in admin departments, I got the opportunity to join the company where I am still working today, which is Hewlett Packard. HP, as it was known in the past. HP it gave me a great opportunity to learn, first and foremost, to learn how to work in a team. This you have to try to picture this. Back in the time, in the early 2000s, HP had the European shared service center based out in Dublin. So a lot of people from different nationalities, cultures, ages, origins, they were all working together in this beautiful complex outside Dublin. So I had the opportunity to start working with people from different cultures, countries, backgrounds, different functions. I changed roles a few times in my time in the shared service center in Dublin. So great experience. It got me to learn the insights from the huge multinational organization as HPE is today still. So yeah, and that led me understand the company, the organization, and then make the decisions going forward to take my next challenges.
Okay. So you're currently in Madrid. So how did you end up back there?
When I was in Dublin, one of the latest positions that I took in Dublin, I was kind of sales support role. This is the back office we have in Dublin, and then we were giving support to all the different countries across EMEA, across Europe. So once I was in the team there, I started working closely to the sales organization, to the sales people. And I got very much interested in the sales world because I started seeing things that they really resonated in me. The key factors or the key elements that I see in sales is the ability to meet new people, new customers, to travel a bit, to be optimistic, to deliver a message and the value proposition to customers. So you're always kind of playing a pivotal role in the success of the organization and the customers' organizations as well. However, you cannot do this on your own. You really need someone in the back office and across the organization, different functions, different teams, to give you the tools and to support you as a sales individual to be in front of the customer and defend and try to sell and grow the business for yourself and for your customers. So I really got interested in that role, in that function, how to grow personally and professionally, to be able to have that responsibility of being in front of the customer, being the face of your company, representing your company, but by being surrounded by a great team of people who are giving you the experience. So I had the back office experience. When I suddenly got in contact with the sales people, I really got interested in that. So I took a step, getting closer to them by taking the sales support role for a year and a half, more or less, waiting for my opportunity. And guess what? The opportunity came 18 months after that. I was offered the position to move to Spain as a sales account manager, covering the area of Barcelona on all the Mediterranean side of Spain. So there was a great opportunity for me. It represented a big challenge, of course. But of course, I decided that, it was a no-brainer for me. So I packed everything again and back to Spain.
Amazing. It's amazing. So during your time in Dublin then, what would you say was the biggest challenge that you had to face there?
The biggest challenge was, I think, when I joined the company, I was pretty lost. I was very young at the time. I had very little experience, and the experience that I had, I think I mentioned to you earlier, it was in a retail company, which was very, small organization. There was no departments whatsoever. So once I moved to Dublin, I started working for such a company as HPE. Different departments, people everywhere, structures. So that gave me kind of well, it was a challenge trying to understand my position, how I could develop my skills and my career in an organization like that. Obviously, you don't think that you're going to be there for the next 20 years, which is the time that I've been in the company now. But you try to understand, okay, so I know this because I've been doing this job for 4, 5, 6 months, or whatever time it takes, depends on the position and the responsibilities. But I was trying to always keep the open mind and try to understand the different functions and the different organizations within the company. So try to see, okay, so this is an area of interest for me. This is something that I could develop my skills and my career going forward. So that was a bit of a challenge when you are working in such a big company as HPE is and was at the time. We're talking, again, early 2000s, which is before the separation of the HPE in two separate companies as it is today. So it was a massive, massive organization, lots of opportunities, lots of people to learn from, and that really represented a challenge. I was lucky enough to be in this division, which is HPE Financial Services. We are a big family. We are probably in terms of people, resources, not as big as other divisions of HPE at the time. So that gave me the possibility to really learn how a huge and big corporation works, but from a smaller division. So more generalistic, having access to different divisions, different departments, and learning from taking as a learning experience. That was a challenge. The second challenge was trying to, integrate myself in the team. This was not that difficult because, as I said, the multicultural, all the nationalities, young people eager to work, eager to make connections and to build relationships. That really helped me in overcoming that challenge. So yeah, probably those two were the challenges I faced the most of the time. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, what would you say then have been your biggest insights, let's say, your learnings from the breadth of your experience, European experience, should I say?
I think the biggest learning was being able to, I mean, let me put it in a different way. If you're a curious person, if you keep asking yourself questions of how we do this or why we do it this way, being in Dublin, it gave me the possibility to ask those questions to the different stakeholders. Since we had the back office, actually the central European office in Dublin, a lot of the stakeholders in different departments, they were based in Dublin. So by building those relationships with that people and having those conversations, asking those questions, I think it gave me the insights to really understand how the business worked, how to challenge or how to answer some questions like, why are we doing it this way? Why do we price it this way? Or why do we send the invoices this way? Things like you start asking yourself questions as to how you operate as a company, and you have some ideas or some doubts sometimes. So having the possibility to interact with key people, key team members, and getting those conversations going is something that it really helped me at the time to really understand how the organization works from the inside out. And also it helped me afterwards in my career to keep building on those relationships and expanding my knowledge in different areas of the business.
Yeah. And you know what, I really like what you just shared there about being curious. And I think that is really important when you go into, whether it's a new organization or a new team, for example, because I hear it a lot that people are always kind of, I know scared is the right word, but resistant to asking questions, even if they're new to a company or to a new team. And they put this pressure on themselves that they are expected to know everything because they've been hired for this job. And in my view, no matter what role you're in, as a salesperson, for example, at HP, you could go into, another tech company. They're going to operate differently the way they go about things. And you got to ask the questions and be curious to really and quickly integrate into that new environment. And we don't all know everything, and we're not expected to know everything. And I also feel, you know, it's important to almost take advantage when you're new of being even more curious and asking all of the questions, because it's okay because you're new. If you wait 12 months down the line, then you start being curious. It's like, well, now it's like, well, there may be an expectation you should know some of this.
Might be too late to ask. Yeah.
But I think it's a really important point you raised. And also what you said there about interacting with other people. It's like showing that you're curious, you're willing to learn, you're wanting to learn. It's positioning you well with other people to notice that you're someone who is ambitious, you're driven, you want to learn, you want to grow, you want to move up. And again, it's positioning, showing, you know, coming through your ambition as someone who is curious, who also is building relationships, as you said, because now you've nurtured those over the years, will help you in whatever role you go into next. And even if you choose to leave the organization. And, you know, again, it's easy, you know, I speak to a lot of people who don't nurture their professional relationships, and then when they're in the job search market, for example, it's almost uncomfortable for them to now go and reach out to people. And people move on, right? So I'm sure you, like I, will know a lot of people who are now in different organizations, and it's there's so much to be gained from that, just not just about getting another job, but just about understanding the industry, what's going on in other companies, what people are doing differently that maybe you can learn from. There's just so much to be gained. So I think both of what you said there, the curiosity and the relationship aspect, are critical.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and you know what? You know, later in my career, in recent years, I've been experiencing the situation when some junior people join the sales team, you know, so, and then me as a more senior person, I really enjoy spending time with the junior people joining the team, giving them advice, or, you know, try to share with them my you know, my knowledge, or, you know, some tips here and there. But I always ask them the same question, or I put them under the same challenge, which is, ask yourself questions, you know, try to understand why you are doing things this way, or actually why you are doing this. If I ask you to help me with something, you help me with some pricing, for example, or as I'm sending an email to a customer, whatever, ask yourself, why am I doing this way? What is the impact of me doing this job or this task for you? So if you start asking yourself those questions by being curious, you know, I think that's one of the most powerful learning exercises you can go through, because that's coming from inside. And you know, you ask yourself the question, and then you will get to the answer, and then that's something that you will never forget, and then you will, you know, apply it and apply it and apply again and again and again. By repetition, you get better as well, which is probably something that we wanna talk later on. But yeah, definitely, and building relationships as well, especially, you know, for anybody really, not matter how senior or how experienced you are. I think building relationships is key. No matter if you're in sales, in finance, in IT, or HR, I don't think it really matters. Obviously, if you are in sales, which is, you know, a more customer-facing position, and you are more exposed, you really need to enjoy that and really have to have something, let's say, and work on that, because I never thought, and this is a secret, I never thought I was going to end up in sales. And look, after 20 years, I spent more than 15 years in sales, and I think I'm not doing bad. And I enjoy it, and I really enjoy it. And I never thought myself of being a sales professional, because sometimes we have different, you know, judgments or impressions of what sales or another position might be. And then once you start learning and start, you know, putting yourself under some, you know, situations where you learn and you put yourself out of the comfort zone, of course, that's where you start enjoying things in a different way. But yeah, absolutely, relationships are key. Building relationships is an ongoing thing. It's not like once you are starting, you have to put more effort than once you are more senior. Any day is good to make new relationships and to nurture the existing ones, and be curious. That's a natural thing you have to have in you. The day you stop being curious, then maybe we have a different conversation, Leila.
Indeed. And just to go back on one of the things you said, that about sales and relationships and that connection. There's a quote that I use a lot when I deliver talks, and that is from Zig Ziglar, who is one of the most famous sales coaches in the US. And he talks about no matter what role you're in, I'm paraphrasing, but no matter what role you're in, if the role you're in involves you or requires you to deal with people, then you're in sales. It doesn't matter if you're in a back office role or a front facing, client facing role. It is about you're selling yourself. In other words, you want to influence people's perception of you such that it becomes easier to advance your career.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Everybody is in sales, no matter if you are actually in the sales organization, but somehow, sometime every day, you are doing some kind of sales. As you said, you're selling an idea, you're selling a position, you're selling whatever it is you're selling, the projection or an image of yourself, you are in sales. So, yeah, I mean, that's why probably I thought that I would never end up in sales, because I have this image of sales being, the cool guys with the Lamborghinis and Porsches and showing up in, knocking on doors, customer doors, selling books or whatever. I thought this is not for me. Not the Lamborghinis part, that is for me. But no, but once you learn how the sales world actually works, and the psychology that is behind it, and the preparation, and the continuous learning, the curiosity that you need to have as a good sales professional, always trying to be ahead of the conversation, planning, preparing, practicing, rehearsing, all of those activities that come that involves the world of sales. That's where you find a lot of interesting things, and it continues challenging you as a professional, to continue doing better.
Yeah, no, absolutely agree. And just to add to that, like you, I never dreamt that I'd be in sales, starting out as an accountant and having that perception of sales as not something I could do. I was too shy, I didn't have the confidence. It looked like it's really hard. You've got to have a certain skill set to actually find myself spending the greater part of my career in various sales roles. So yeah, to your point, stepping out of your comfort zone, trying new things and realizing what you are capable of is something I always advocate for, because you just never realize until you go give it a shot.
Yeah,
you'll learn
absolutely.
from no matter what, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So just moving on a little bit to your journey, your career journey from shared service center in Dublin. You've worked your way up. Now you're a global account executive within HPE Financial Services. And but for those in the know, that's what's the word? What's the term that you call those roles? It's like the creme de la creme of sales in.
Well, I remember in one of my first team meetings when I joined the global accounts team, I think I mentioned something like, "Oh, so finally I'm in the Champions League of sales."
That was it.
Yeah. And some people actually remember that for quite a few weeks. Yeah. Well, listen, it's not better or worse. Absolutely no. I wouldn't put it in that scale of things. I think at the end of the day, as I said, I moved back to Spain. This was in 2008 from Dublin to Barcelona. In Barcelona, I had to do a lot of things, a lot of learnings. I kind of thought what sales was at the time when I moved to sales, and I moved to Spain, and I was wrong. I did know very little. But you learn. You just expose yourself. You just keep pushing, keep learning. I was challenged with many things. Knowledge was one of them, but also the fact that I was the only sales rep in the area, in Barcelona, in the city and in the area. The rest of the team was based in Madrid, which, for those of you who don't know, is like in a 600 kilometers away, which is probably 400 miles, whatever. So big distance. So I had to learn a lot on my own, which was both a challenge and an opportunity. Obviously, you struggle a lot when you are facing situations that you are really lost, or you don't know how to what is the next step to take. Those long nights where you keep thinking about how to solve a particular situation with a customer, with a project. Obviously, I always had my manager, my team in Madrid, who I could talk to them anytime. But it's different when you are on your own on the field. So a lot of challenges, a lot of being uncomfortable sometimes, but I think that was actually great learning and a great opportunity for me to really learn how to overcome those obstacles and how to understand that uh, there is a progress that if you really commit to it, you always succeed. If you put the effort and the energy, no matter what, you will overcome all the obstacles. It's just a matter of time, and then the more you practice, the better you get at shortening that time as well, which is something that happened to me later on when I moved to global accounts. So just to give you a finalize before my move to global accounts, I was in Barcelona for 11 years, something like that. It's always in sales, doing kind of different things, different accounts, segments, etc., but always in sales as an account manager. So I always thought that in my organization, in my company, the sales organization, there's levels, not depending on how good you are, but how experienced you are in terms of solving more complex situations or more complex accounts. Obviously, that requires a level of knowledge, experience, seniority. So I really was eager to take the next step and continue growing within the sales organization. Starting as a junior, I was moving up the ladder, let's say, taking responsibilities with bigger accounts, bigger quotas as well. Which I really enjoyed a lot. And I always say that I want the biggest quota in the team if possible, but give me the tools to do it. I don't want to be the small guy with a small quota. But anyway, then I decided to move to Madrid with my family. This was 5 years ago for a number of reasons that are not really relevant, but I just wanted to be in Madrid. I actually also felt that Madrid being the capital, there's a lot of things happening in terms of the opportunities and growth. It's not just because of that, but that was one of the elements that I based my decision on. So yeah, I moved to Madrid, and then when was it? 18 months ago, almost 2 years ago now, I started the conversation about joining the global accounts team, which is kind of the Champions League of the sales organization. Not because they have the best players, which sometimes they do, but not always. But they have big budgets and they have a big exposure, and you continue learning. And at that time in my career, I was really enjoying my role in the sales team in Spain, in Madrid. But I was ready for a challenge. I was ready for a change. I was ready to continue growing, meeting new people, building my relationships, my connection. And continue learning from the best, which is what I thought at the moment. The best guys in terms of knowledge and experience, they are in the global account segment. I've been in sales for 15 plus years, and I want to continue growing. I want to continue learning. I'm curious, and that's why I was really happy and excited about the opportunity to join the global accounts team. And again, it came with some challenges, of course. So it's always a challenge and opportunity when I face situations like this. All the changes come with challenges and opportunities. And so far, I'm the type of person that I always focus on the opportunities and put the resources and my mind to overcome the challenges.
Mm. So what were your initial thoughts then when you were offered that role?
The first thoughts, it was, wow, I'm finally there. I made it to the global accounts team. It's a very reduced team of individuals. Just in terms of resources, people, it's a very reduced team of people, and and with big budgets. So, you know, you feel the responsibility in a different way. So it's a great opportunity to learn, but it comes with a big responsibility as well. So my first thought is, wow, you know, I finally made it. I'm there. I'm part of the. I'm one of them. But oh my, this is a big mountain to climb in terms of getting up to speed, trying to leverage from all the learnings, all the experiences and situations that I've been going through for the last number of years in sales, trying to, you know, keep learning, but also show and prove that I know enough to deserve the position. So a bit of insecurity in terms of, wow, now that I got to the top, then you look down, it's like, wow, and am I going to am I going to be able to perform and to show that I'm the right person to be here? And that was a challenge as well.
Yeah. So what steps did you take to up level in that role? I mean, you talked about, you know, leveraging your learnings. I'm guessing to some extent, leveraging the relationships you've already built.
The approach that I took, it was, you have to be humble sometimes as well, you know. So where am I? Do I deserve this? You start doubting yourself sometimes, which is fine, but don't be too hard on you, because there's a reason why you are there. Sometimes you have to reflect on the history or the reasons that put you in that position, and acknowledge that. My experience in sales, with all the, you know, without the, I'm not pretending to be, you know, what I'm not, but, you know, I won some awards sometimes, you know, by, you know, closing some great years in terms of performance and everything. I'm not the best, I'm not the worst. I just try to do the best of what I can do, really. And try to show the best version of myself. So when I joined the global accounts team, I thought, okay, so let's go through my learnings. Let's try to focus on and reflect on who I am, how I got here, and what I can do, and what is the contribution that I can do to the team, because I want to do well. I want the people and the team and the organization to feel and to see that they made the right decision with me, and I want to achieve great success in the team. Of course, I want that, you know. Being humble, but, you know, working your way through. So I have to spend some time really trying to make sure that I was, mentally speaking, that I was prepared for the challenge, you know, because throughout the process of getting into the team, I was fully committed. I was very excited, and I couldn't just really wait until I heard the words, "You are hired," or, you know, "You're in." But then once I was in, it's okay. So now I want to start performing since day one, because I've been in this company. I know what we do. I know how we do it. I started in the back office 20 years ago. So I went through a lot of positions that helped me get to where I am today. And now I'm putting my own pressure of, you have to execute on this. So after some thoughts, then you understand the strengths that you have, but you also identify some weaknesses or areas of improvement. And I think one of the weaknesses or improvements that I needed, it was asking for help. You know, getting to see, okay, there are a number of things that I know, a number of things that I know I will be able to do. I never doubted myself in terms of, am I the person to do their job? I really quickly, you know, thought, okay, of course I am the person to do this job. My, not fear, but my challenge at the time was, I need to do this, and I need to do this quickly. I cannot just wait until, you know, 6, 12 months, 18 months down the line. Oh yeah, no, now through repetition, I got to the point where I am now. I just want to continue, take the opportunity to, get out of my comfort zone, get some help, put some work, roll up your sleeves, get to work and start, executing sooner rather than later. And I found through conversations with some colleagues and friends, I found the best option for me at the time. It was getting external help through coaching, someone who could guide me through the situation, not in terms of telling me what to do or how to do it, because I know how to do that more or less. I mean, you can face always new things, new complex situations, but that's okay. That's part of the learning. But it was building on my confidence, my trust, my commitment, really, to say I need to do this quickly. And for that, I contacted you, Leila, and we started working for the last number of months in a program that really helped me to get up to the situation where I am today. I do not know more or less by working with you. I do know that my capacities and my attitude have improved a lot by working with you, and that helped me gaining the knowledge and the connections that I needed to really succeed in my role in the first 12 months in the role. So that was the real challenge, and I was lucky enough to find the solution and to find someone external to guide me through the process.
So where you're at now in this role, so you said I think it's 18 months in or so, we're coming up to about 18 months, isn't it? What would you say has been the biggest challenge in the last 18 months for you? Because again, I love the fact you say challenges are opportunities, so that's why I'm asking the question.
The biggest challenge was when I joined the global accounting. You know what happened? I had this feeling of feeling small all of a sudden, and I was, I was, sorry to say, but I was hating myself. Like, after so many years in the company, after so many positions, how come do you feel so small joining this team? You see, I look up to the team members in the global accounts team, and I really see people that I really value, and I really find a lot of things that I really want to imitate, or do things like the way they do it. Each of them, they have different characteristics, of course. So when I joined, it was like, oh, I'm here, the Spanish guy. No, nobody knows me, and I'm joining the Champions League. When sometimes the small team qualifies for the semi-final of a big tournament, and everybody's really, who are these guys? So I had kind of that feeling. So that was. I was putting myself my own limitations, because I'm sure nobody really saw me like that. I'm sure. It's just your own fears and your own ideas, the way you think, how that projects into the reality, really, and how those limitations are absolutely, they're not there. They're just here, and then you project everything into the real world. And then, it's normal that you think that people see you like that because you keep thinking about that, how you think people look at you. So that was a challenge that, with help, I quickly changed my perspective, and I felt like, one more member of the team, no difference.
Yeah. And I think what you shared there, again, it's really important. So for people watching or listening to this, to just check in with themselves, because there's two things here. Number one is how we see ourselves often isn't how others see us. So perspective is everything. And that's why I talk a lot about thinking about people's perception of you, because we as human beings have that inner dialogue, that self-talk, or the the chimp paradox is the book, right? So the chimp that's here that will want to keep us safe and tell us that, maybe you're not ready to take on a new challenge, or that you're not good enough, or everyone's better than you, and who do you think you are, and all of that narrative that then has us limit ourselves, hold ourselves back from actually taking these leaps, these opportunities that, Javier, that you have done so many times throughout your career. And it's having the level of awareness of what's occurring in here, that we can get a handle on that and actually say, okay, yeah. And it's not about ignoring or just disregarding, it's acknowledging, yeah, that's a conversation, but I can have a different conversation and I can move myself forward. And it comes easier to some than to others, but having that level of awareness is a huge starting point. Because as you said in your example, nobody would, I didn't know you, just to be clear, before we connected to have the coaching conversation, but I didn't know you at HPEFS because you were in Spain, I was in the UK, we never really crossed paths. But I never saw you that way, and I do not believe that your colleagues would have either. But it's easy when we're in a new environment, a new space, and we have expectations, and then we put pressure on ourselves that all sorts of thoughts will come up which are not resourceful. And this is where it becomes so pertinent to recognize those thoughts that we're having, that inner dialogue, and ask yourself, is this actually, well, first of all, is this true? Is it really true? And how is this conversation that I'm having about myself and with myself serving me? Because most times it isn't. And it's simply just creating an obstacle for us. And that's when we end up playing a really small game, and we don't put ourselves out there for those opportunities. So I think that's what you shared there. Thank you, first of all, for sharing that. And it's a huge takeaway for people listening to this to really take that on board, because I see it day in and day out when I talk to people. We put a label on ourselves, or labels of how we are. For example, we're not confident, or we're not this, and we're not, smart enough, or we've not got the college education, or whatever it might be. And then because of that, we play a small game.
Yeah, confidence is a tricky word, because we are not confident throughout one single day. So probably in the morning you wake up and you are super happy, super excited for whatever reason, and then you go through the day, you have challenges, and then you lose your confidence, or you're facing. So it's difficult to have that level of consistency of being confident. But what I learned, and what I love as well, still today, because it's not that you learn not to be not confident anymore. You will always, there will always be situations where you are lacking some confidence. But what you do learn is being not fully confident is okay, because through taking the steps that you need to build on that confidence, and probably sometimes you have to go back to the basics or ask for help, ask to a friend, a colleague, what do you think? Can you help me with that? What do you think are my weaknesses, or how do you recommend me? We all have access to that, to those little things. It's only a few people that implement them, because sometimes we think that we are projecting the wrong image, that you are showing some kind of weaknesses. And with the experience, then you realize that it's the other way around. It's so simple and so powerful to ask for opinion to someone you value, or to provide them their feedback on how they see you doing X or certain things, So building on your confidence is actually rewarding, in terms that is kind of a virtuous circle. Like, once you start working on that, you identify moments and situations in your life or in your career where you are not so confident anymore, but you remember that you were there before, and then you were able to put it through because you worked on it, and you talked to someone, or you seek for help, or I don't know, whatever it is what you did, that is fine. And it gives you the self-confidence to say, I'm ready to whatever situation, whatever challenge I will face. And because I know I have the tools to look for the responses. I don't know. I don't have the answers now to what I will experience tomorrow during a customer meeting, but I do know that I have the resources to identify. Okay, so let me help you with that because I'm going to ask for for help to this person, or let me work on that and I'll get back to you. And then you start being more self-confident and bringing more value, and then you're more relaxed, and then you keep growing as a professional and as a person as well.
Well said. I can't really add to that. I just
Thank
call
you.
out a couple of things that you mentioned there, which are, you know, when we're faced with challenges, it's and you're absolutely spot on about the confidence can be up and down, and a lot of that's when we're in an uncomfortable environment or something where we feel maybe a little bit out of our depth or something new. And it's again coming back to remembering some of the basics, which is we don't have to know everything, first and foremost, being curious, but also drawing upon tools, drawing upon resources which can help you to overcome the challenge that you're dealing with. Because it, you know, this is something I talk a lot about with clients and in presentations, is the event is the event. Whatever happens, happens. It's how we choose to respond to that that will make the difference. That will create your experience. And when you're put in a difficult situation or a new or a challenging situation, it's how you approach it, what, you know, how you respond to it that will create that experience or that make the impact that you want to make. And that's a sign of true leadership as well.
Yeah, and there's one, you know, probably we all heard this kind of motto in different companies or books or whatever, is being comfortable with the uncomfortable. If you really think about it, it's quite powerful, because I think that involves all this, you know, spirit of becoming a better version of yourself constantly, and then there's no negative on being uncomfortable, because you always learn something, and then you always is something that you will replicate in a future occasion, and that's a fact. You know, that's something. So, you know, for example, to give you an example, I told you how 18 months ago I was challenging when I joined the global accounts team, feeling small, the small guy in the room. You know, okay. Nowadays, I'm super confident on participating in whichever conversation, conference call, asking questions, volunteering to participate in whichever group that they are. And that's through the, you know, through the learnings that I've taken throughout the last number of months, that by being curious and you know, being proactive and being humble as well, but it's so much better situation to be where you are more active, and when you have experienced that you were uncomfortable once, but then you just put it through, and then you were fine with it, and then another situation came by and you were uncomfortable, but again you pulled it through again and you were fine. And then that's kind of the progression that I'm interested in. So continue learning and, you know, working on my weaknesses or areas of improvement. By probably I was the shy guy at the beginning. A lot of people will tell you that I was not shy ever, but you know, sometimes we know ourselves, and when you are shy and when you are not, or when you pretend not to be shy. But yeah, that's the kind of progress that I'm interested. So, you know, forcing myself to participate in new things, take new challenges, and then you quickly see how those challenges become opportunities, because they allow you to become, again, and sorry for the repetition, a better version of yourself.
No, completely. And yeah, I'm not going to even say anything else, because I think you've covered that beautifully in what you've just shared there. And thank you again for being so open with this. Just to take it to leadership, because, you know, I know, and I'll just say it here, your aspiration is towards leadership, stepping into a leadership role. So when it comes to advancing towards leadership, my question for you is, what are the 3 traits of a good leader in your view?
Yeah, well, there's there's many. I will try to find 3 traits for you. let me start by saying that for me, being a leader, or what I think or what I admire of the leaders, the people that I consider leaders today, it doesn't really have a lot to do with the role, which is probably something that I found throughout my career and through conversation with others, that we tend to think that the leader is the CXO of a company or something, and yeah, sometimes it is. Most of the times they are leaders, they are true leaders, but not necessarily. So for me, a leader is someone who is a listener, someone who listens more than talks, who really understand what is happening around him or her, in terms of the people he or she works with, what are the challenges or the obstacles that some people are facing, and how you approach the people trying to support them and trying to overcome those obstacles, not necessarily because you have a specific interest on that, just because you are trying to support and you're trying to uh, make that person grow. So for me, that's, I'm going to say, generosity, or being approachable and being a team player. I think that for me is a key attribute or a trait for a true leader. Being open to support and to help others without having really a specific interest on the matter. Because if you have an interest, probably there are different reasons why you get involved. Um, Second thing for a true leader is you need some level of charm. And when I say charm, I talk about the full word charm. You have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to express your opinions, that people understand you, people gets engaged with when you are saying things, how you are saying things. People listens to you because you have the attitude, the knowledge, but sometimes somehow you are also charming in terms of how to, for example, to give a speech, or to give advice in a proper way, and you get people to listen to you in that specific way. Another trait or attribute, it would be, I think, probably integrity, is one of the key elements that any leader should have, or actually has, probably. Integrity, because especially in the society we live today, you need to be ever, for sure, always you have to be have a lot of integrity, but especially today even more. We are more exposed to changes in trends in all the industries, all the matters, all the aspects in life. So when you have integrity, it shows that you have also respect, that you understand people the way they are, that you're trying to get the best out of the people, but without putting those individuals under situations that probably they are not the best practices. So there are ways of doing things. There are ways of winning in the market, uh, and you have to do it with integrity and with and being honest to yourself as well. So yeah, probably those could be the three traits that I would say the most important for a true leader. I'm
Okay.
sure there's more. There's plenty more. I'm sure there's many more, but
There absolutely are, I'm sure. So tell me then, what is next for you, Javier, in your career?
Next for me, I really want to enjoy the journey. Of course, I have some plans and some ideas of the next few years, and and actually I'm working on those as well, because you try to identify, okay, so what do I have to do today to get there, when the time comes. So you start to anticipate things. I'm working on that. So what is my plans? My plan is basically to, as I said, enjoy the journey. I set myself the plan for the coming years. I'm not putting myself under a lot of pressure to achieve those goals in a specific time. Uh, some things depend on me, but not everything does. So I just want to enjoy the ride. I just want to work on my development as a person, as a professional. Keep working on my areas of improvement. I'm not going to say weaknesses anymore, because I don't like the word.
Development
But
areas.
yeah. Um, But not really. Enjoy the experience. And you mentioned it earlier, Leila. I've been in sales for so many years, and I still see so many areas of improvement. Some situations that I want to get exposed, situations that I want to feel uncomfortable, because I know that will keep me learning, progressing, and I still see those situations and those opportunities to continue growing. I want to believe that I will always be identifying those opportunities. The moment that I don't see those opportunities probably is a moment to change something radically. But for now, just want to continue learning, growing, and of course, having fun as well.
Of course, that's most important. Enjoying the journey, as you said, along the way.
Exactly.
Javier, thank you so much for your time and for very openly sharing your journey, your experiences, your challenges. And, there's so much to be taken away from this conversation that I think can benefit a lot of people, thinking whether it's about a sales role specifically, about moving up in their career. And I think one of the things that really shines through as you talk is about just we can call it mindset or just the way we look at things, but over and over and over, you've made big, bold decisions and you've grabbed opportunities and embraced challenges. And I think that is huge. You talked earlier about being comfortable feeling or being uncomfortable. And that is where we really get to experience true fulfillment and understanding like what we are truly capable of. So yeah, it's been fantastic talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Leila. Thank you to everybody who's listening. I really hope that someone finds anything interesting. I'll be happy to interact with the people that want to do so. I really enjoyed the time with talking to you today, Leila, and I look forward to our next conversation.
Indeed. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already done so. And if you enjoyed and gained value from today's episode, then do please leave a review telling us your key learnings and what you enjoyed the most. And do please share this podcast with your friends and colleagues so we can spread the word on life leadership, creating a life of choice, freedom, and new possibilities. Connect with me directly on LinkedIn, and if you would like to learn more about how we can work together, either DM me on LinkedIn or email me. All details and resources can be found in the show notes.